let's start out talking about the stress response. Here's what's going on in your body when the stress response is triggered. It starts with the amygdala. The amygdala is that part of your brain responsible for initiating the stress response. The amygdala is like the guard on the lookout for danger. It interprets sounds and images, and when it perceives something as a threat, it sounds the alarm. The images can be real or even imagined. The amygdala does not differentiate between real and imagined danger. That means regardless of whether or not you actually need to protect yourself, or you're just worried about dangers that might happen, the amygdala interprets the message as a threat and sends a signal to the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is like the command center located in your brain. It dispatches messages to the rest of your body through the central nervous system. Your nervous system controls your breathing, your heart rate, your blood pressure, the dilation and construction of the bronchioles, which are the key blood vessels and small airways in your lungs. The autonomic nervous system has two components, the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Are you still with me? Stay with me here. The sympathetic nervous system is like the gas pedal. It triggers the fight, flight, or freeze response and gives the body a burst of energy to respond to dangers. Again, both real and imagined. The parasympathetic nervous system is like the brake. It promotes rest and digest, and it calms the body down after the danger is past. I know this is a little bit wordy, so let's recap what's happening so far. The amygdala is like the guard. It senses danger, either real or imagined, and sends a message to the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is like command center, dispatching the messages to the rest of the body through the nervous system. When command center, the hypothalamus, gets a message from the guard, the amygdala, that there's danger, it tells the sympathetic nervous system to hit the gas and give the body the energy it needs to respond to the danger. Now remember, this might only be imagined danger. Things that you're worrying about might happen. Money worries, relationship worries, job worries, and so forth. So what happens when the sympathetic nervous system hits the gas? It signals the adrenal glands to release adrenaline into the bloodstream. Adrenaline is the hormone epinephrine. The adrenal glands are located on the top of each kidney. Think of the adrenal glands as the police station and the adrenaline as the SWAT team being dispatched. The guard has now told command center, there's danger. Command center, through the sympathetic nervous system, has now dispatched the SWAT team to assist. Aren't our bodies amazing? Let's go back to the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands have released the hormone epinephrine into the bloodstream. This hormone circulates through the body, creating physiological changes. Heart beats faster than normal to push blood to muscles, heart, and other vital organs. Pulse rate speeds up, blood pressure goes up, breath quickens. Small airways in the lungs open wider to allow the lungs to take in as much oxygen as possible. Brain becomes more alert with extra oxygen. Sight, hearing, and other senses become sharper. Epinephrine triggers the release of blood sugar, glucose, and fats from temporary storage sites to supply energy to all parts of the body. Now, all of this is happening so fast that your brain's visual centers haven't even had the chance to fully process what you're seeing. There's a fantastic example of this survival mechanism in action in the book called The Gift of Fear by Gavin de Becker. And by the way, I highly recommend this book, and I've included it in the recommended reading list in Module 5. In one section of the book, de Becker writes about an airline pilot by the name of Robert Thompson. So one day this pilot walked into a convenience store and he became suddenly afraid. And that fear signal was so strong, he turned right around and walked out of the store. He didn't know what told him to leave, but later that day he heard about a shooting. He had escaped death. When asked what he saw and what he had reacted to, he didn't know. After being questioned further, some pieces of the puzzle started to form. He said he noticed a car running outside with two men in it. He also noticed the clerk only looked at him for a split second as he entered the store, and mostly focused his attention on a man wearing a very heavy coat. It was only in that moment of reflecting back did he realize that it was very strange because it was super hot that day. His brain, the amygdala, assimilated all of this information, the car running, the clerk only glancing at him quickly, and the heavy coat, and without judgment, without assumptions, it urged him to safety through the stress response before his brain had the chance to fully process what he was seeing and piece together that information. It's pretty remarkable, and there's more. After the surge of epinephrine subsides, the hypothalamus activates the second component of the stress response. That second component is the HPA axis. Going back to the analogy of the guard alarming command center, and then command center dispatching the SWAT team to help you deal with the threat, imagine the HPA axis is the second emergency task force being sent out. Paramedics, firefighters, and police to keep you revved up and protected. The HPA axis signals your sympathetic nervous system to keep the gas pedal pressed down. It relies on a series of hormonal signals to get that secondary team into action. Here's how it works. After the initial adrenaline surge, if your brain continues to perceive something as a threat, and again it can be real or imagined, the hypothalamus releases another hormone called CRH. Imagine CRH is the paramedic. The paramedic travels to the pituitary gland. Then CRH, the paramedic, tells the pituitary gland, which we'll now call the fire station, to release another hormone called ACTH. Pretend ACTH are the firefighters. The firefighters travel to the adrenal glands. Earlier, we imagined the adrenals to be the police station. At the first sign of alert, the police station sent out the SWAT team. This time, they release cortisol. Imagine cortisol as the second round of police officers being sent out to keep the body revved up and on high alert. When the parasympathetic nervous system puts the brakes on the stress response, cortisol levels fall. It's an incredible process, and it all began when the amygdala sounded the alarm, indicating there was danger. Here's the problem. When you're in a chronic state of worry, the amygdala does not know the danger has passed, and it continues to sound the alarm. This chronic worry and low-level stress keeps the HPA axis activated, and it impairs your health. Persistent epinephrine surges can damage blood vessels and arteries, increase blood pressure, and raise the risk of heart attack and even stroke. Elevated cortisol levels can contribute to a buildup of fat tissue and to weight gain. It increases appetite, and it increases storage of unused nutrients as fat. The entire calm process has been designed to help you put the brakes on the stress response through mind, body, and spirit practices.